Hey everyone, welcome to Powering Business with Blockchain. This is the latest episode as part of a series that previously featured Circle, MasterCard, WireX, Lemonade, KKR, AWS, and today Alibaba Cloud. For those who are new to the show, this webinar is dedicated to exploring how partners of Avalanche are building businesses using blockchain and entering Web3. Today, I'm your moderator, Lydia Chu. I am Vice President of Business Development at Ava Labs. So first off, I want to thank both of you for spending some time with us today. We have Raymond Xiao, who is Head of International Industry Solutions and Architecture at Alibaba Cloud. And then someone I have the pleasure of working very closely with, John Nahas, also Vice President of Business Development at Ava Labs. I wanted to give both of you a moment to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what you're currently focusing on. So Raymond, if you don't mind, why don't you kick us off?
Yep, sure. Thanks, Lydia. And hi, everyone. My name is Raymond Xiao. I'm currently looking after Alibaba Cloud International's industry solutions and architectures. And I basically cover, every countries, around the world. And I've been working closely with a lot of different ecosystem and partners to support our customer to adopt the cloud.
Awesome. Well, I'll jump in. Raymond, it's great to be on this webinar with you and Lydia, of course. So John Nahas, Vice President of Business Development, like Lydia, we co-lead the business team at Ava Labs. My focus is primarily on growing the Avalanche ecosystem across users, wallets, and applications across all the verticals that we cover on the business team here. So institutional capital markets, enterprise, which is existing businesses getting into Web3, exchanges and wallets, NFTs, gaming, and DeFi, decentralized finance, as well as teams globally dispersed around the world, tapping into new markets or growing our footprint in those markets. So really happy to be here today and talking with Raymond and Alibaba Cloud.
Thanks again, guys, for taking the time today. So, to kick us off, I think one of the questions that would help everyone understand why this is such a great partnership, which is, Raymond, I'll kick it to you first, but, what do you think is the most important piece of the Avalanche and Alibaba Cloud partnership?
Okay, I'll start first then. So I think this fantastic combination of both sides definitely demonstrate the synergy between Web2 and Web3 and how important the APAC ecosystem is important in the world. As everyone might know that, Alibaba Cloud as one of the biggest public cloud providers in Asia Pacific market, we actually been supporting customers from across the regions, including, Singapore, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, and a lot more of those, from various industries, including Web3. And our partnerships actually start, last year. I think on September, we actually host the first Alibaba Cloud Night with Avalanche in Singapore. And then also during the Token 204 night event, we also co-host some of the after-party events. And of course, thanks to all the contribution by Avalanche, we actually host quite a number of different marketing events in different cities across the regions, and to promote the Web3 adoptions as well as the cloud, how the Alibaba Cloud can, as a hyperscaler, could empower all those builders and startups to, innovate on top of the ecosystem. So, and in December last year, we actually launched officially our partnership, and we had this Avalanche Node as a services using Alibaba Cloud. That's also another key milestone that we achieved, and it's good combination, and we really look forward to entering another new era into enterprise moving forward. So that's something that I think definitely can play an important role to contribute into the Web3 ecosystem. And at the other side is that the team from Avalanche is quite professional, and we've been, our team members been quite enjoying this collaboration with the team, and really, I think it's time that we can explore more opportunities, not only to the the Web3 ecosystem, but also into the the traditional Web2. How we can actually make something happen into the the enterprise to bring value to the market. So that's something that I think would be quite important to our partnerships.
Thanks, Raymond. And I'll just echo, our team has had a great experience working with the Alibaba Cloud team as well. So this has been a partnership that's been live for a while, but it's great to have, the announcement go live a few months ago, and to have, a tangible product go to market with the program that we launched with you guys. So, John, what's your perspective on that same question?
Look, I think there's two high level pieces here of importance as to why this is as significant as it is. First and foremost, I think Avalanche is a platform for anybody to build on, right? And for any developer, whether a 2-person developer, a 200-person team, or a 2,000 or 20,000 person enterprise. So we need to be where builders are. Right? There's no single cloud solution. There's no single region. There's no single offering that's going to solve for all the builders and all the entrepreneurs, all the people that are trying to develop on Avalanche. So I think first and foremost, Alibaba Cloud's offering is fantastic. Having us be a solution there, and I believe the first solution for those people on Alibaba Cloud is fantastic. Trying to get into blockchain services and to build on blockchain. And secondly, it's a commitment to our dedication to the APAC region, of course. A large part of our community, of our users, of builders and developers and innovation is coming out of the APAC region. And Alibaba is really poised in that part of the world. And we really want to be able to be there where the builders are and to support them and to give them all the tools they need to. And especially with a service as great as Alibaba Cloud services, it makes perfect sense.
Thanks, guys. I think that helps everyone really understand why this is such an important partnership as well. The global cloud computing market is a 480 billion market worldwide, and Alibaba Cloud is the 3rd largest provider. It's certainly the largest provider in the Asia Pacific region. So, with that, can you, Raymond, share with us, how did Alibaba Cloud come to choose Avalanche to partner with for the first public chain integration that happened?
Yep, sure. I think with Avalanche and Alibaba Cloud, we share quite similar vision and also the spirit in the region. So I will break it down into 3 areas. The first one is innovations. For Avalanche, it's quite innovative in terms of the technology, and also you guys invent the new consensus mechanisms, with the snowball and three chain architecture, and those subnet infrastructure. All that could provide a more powerful and scalable, the public chain infrastructure to the builders. And also, we also noticed some of the latest official release of this Hyper SDK, which allows developers to even do this deployment and also the blockchain solutions in a more robust and easy way. So that kind of innovations share the same spirit of Alibaba Cloud. For Alibaba Cloud ourselves, we also been released a lot of different innovative solutions that can help our customers to achieve a better efficiencies or saving the cost, or even bring it into more values. So that's number one topic area that we share the same vision. And then the other one is about the ecosystem within the regions. So we also noticed that Avalanche has a quite strong partner ecosystem in the regions, including in gaming, in finance, DeFi, or some other social media as well. And there's a vibrant community and also a lot of different events happening. I've seen Avalanche have been participating in a lot of different events in different cities within the region, including Hong Kong, Singapore, or Japan, etc. That share the same, the footprint and coverage of Alibaba Cloud. And we do think that we have the similar synergy that would further helping those builders and entrepreneurs within those countries and cities to further innovate into the Web3 spaces, including DeFi, gaming, and social aspects. And I think that's the number 2 reasons. And thirdly, is about the commitment to this region. We've also noticed that Avalanche have been recently been hiring more talents within the region, including Japan, South Korea, or some other regions within the APAC. And that shows the commitment to our ecosystem within the region, which is similar to Alibaba Cloud as well. For Alibaba Cloud, we've been expanding our business within the regions. We've been setting up our data center and regions, not only those major cities and countries, but also some of the emerging markets such as Thailand, Philippines, and a lot more. So those would be some of the 3 major reasons that we choose Avalanche as the first batch of public chains.
That's a great perspective, and that actually helps me segue into, one of the recent articles from Bloomberg cited that Ava Labs recently hired new heads of Japan and South Korea. So John, this is the perfect opportunity to share, what is the strategy for entering the APAC market, and where does Alibaba Cloud fit into that?
So real quick, want to go back to some of the things that Raymond mentioned. I couldn't have said it better myself, Raymond. So thank you. And if we can, you're an ambassador for Avalanche. So thank you for those kind words and for all that information. And you focused on the fact that we have a commitment to the region. And to Lydia's point, of course, we recently hired a head of Korea and a head of Japan. Both of those countries have those heads leading those markets, as well as supporting teams across marketing, business development, and community. Those come in addition to the existing Asia team that we've had and that has been part of the Avalanche team for some time now. Japan and South Korea specifically have shown tremendous interest, both in Web3 and blockchain technology, and have very vibrant Avalanche communities. Japan, on their own, created their own kind of Japan community. And, that's a testament to their dedication to the technology, but also to the kind of community and ecosystem that we're trying to foster on a global scale. So it only was fitting and made sense to hire a head of Japan to, across enterprise, technology, gaming. Japan is a hotbed for all of these innovations and for the movement. So looking forward to going and spending time there this year. And then South Korea, of course, as well. We were at Korea Blockchain Week last year and was thoroughly impressed with the level of development going on. Korea is very tech forward and very innovative in the way they're looking to utilize blockchain technology across multiple verticals, whether it be government, entertainment, enterprise, payments. So of course there as well, with the partners that we've had previously that we're currently working with, we needed people there on the ground on a daily basis to be working with them. So I'm really proud of those 2 teams and excited that we have those in those 2 countries. Those are the 2 that have been announced that are public now. We are continually expanding both in regions, sub-regions, and specific countries. So I would just say stay tuned to much more expansion in the APAC region as we continue to build out the team to really serve the needs of the community, the ecosystem, and builders that are looking for the best solution out there.
Thanks, John. And again, quickly referencing, Ava Labs' dedication to the APAC region. We have had an existing Asia growth team that's been there for a while and have been working closely with the Alibaba Cloud team. And one of the other core areas that we're focusing on is definitely in Hong Kong, especially with the friendlier regulatory environment that we've been seeing from the region. So we're excited to find ways to deepen this relationship as well. Kind of taking a step back a bit, going back to just generally how Alibaba views blockchain technologies, would love some insight into how the Alibaba Cloud customers are using blockchain technologies right now. What are you seeing? Which industries? Any insight there, Raymond?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lydia. So for Alibaba Cloud, we actually position ourselves as the technology, the underlying technology provider for all the Web3 builders. So, as you know that, any hyperscaler in the world, they provide, a very strong, robust, and secure and reliable infrastructure that, sitting across different countries, and then provide those infrastructure resources to empower every builders to run their Web3 applications on top. So we actually, our portfolio include a few layers. The first one really is the underlying IaaS and PaaS technologies that everyone would be quite familiar with. But then on top of that, we are trying to build up some of those the more a cloud native, Web3 products and services that will further facilitate our builders to innovate on top. And then, of course, we there's one very core capability is how would a builders be easily and deployed on top of those infrastructure. So we actually been we're releasing a full node services very soon. And this full node service will basically empower, the builders would be able to, call the API and then build up a very reliable and highly resilient blockchain infrastructure on top of Alibaba Cloud. So that's one of the things that we've been helping our customers to do. And then second major pillar of the capability is about security. Because everyone, as you know, that on the Web3, how would you ensure that your app and applications are running in a secure and reliable manner? So from that perspective, we actually been focusing quite a lot of this, and we've been working closely with some of the world's leading partners and ecosystems to build the security products portfolio, including some of the new products that we announced last week during the Hong Kong to Web3 Fest, including the MPC for the private key sharding technologies. And then there's also the eKYC, which allowing users to do this authentication remotely during the account opening. And then there's also a AML services for those, the builders who would like to complying to some of the regulatory requirements for some of the specific countries. And of course, we are also been planning to release a smart contract review product soon. And so you can see that we more focusing on the, one is about the infrastructure, and the node services. And then the second one is about the security capability or you using the Web3. And of course, Alibaba Cloud been empowering some of those, different use cases on Web3, including the gaming. We have some GameFi running on Alibaba Cloud, and also the exchanges, and some of the layer 1 and layer 2 as well. So those would be some of the customers that been adopting Alibaba Cloud in APAC.
Thanks for that color. With going back a little bit to all the additional services that you guys are planning to launch on top of the infrastructure, John, what does that mean for the existing and new members or builders that are looking to come to Avalanche? I mean, they have this great suite of products on Alibaba Cloud to take advantage of. How does that add value to the ecosystem?
I think when you look at the ecosystem, right, and you look at people that are building within the ecosystem, they're usually limited by the tools that are at their disposal. And if they're in a geographic region that doesn't have access to other things, they're limited there. But a developer, right, let me take a step back with an analogy. If you're dealing with a gaming company, right, gaming has had this issue previously where some gaming companies wanted to build their own blockchains or their own networks or do their own thing, right? Or they've been limited to the solutions that exist that are one size fits all, right? This is an issue that I think we've had in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space for a long time. You have fantastic blockchains that come out as theoretical ideas or great ideas, but they're a solution in search of a problem. And the world has been inversed for them because they've had to fit their solution and their application into what the blockchain allows them to. what that platform allows them to build, the parameters that platform is built around, right? Like what you can and can't do in certain things, what trade-offs you have to give, decentralization for TPS or finality for security. There's always been trade-offs. I think one with Avalanche as kind of well, as Alibaba, first and foremost, as that foundational level, builders can really build with Avalanche whatever it is that they're looking to build, either especially with the subnets, but even on the main chain. The amount of things that Alibaba brings to the table and the suite of products and services takes time off of a developer's development cycle, right? It brings things to market sooner. That supports the smaller projects, the projects that don't have a ton of funding, right? The real innovators. A shorter development cycle means less cost and less time, they can get to market sooner. So, I mean, I think it helps across a number of ways, right? So it helps developers by streamlining their workflows, by minimizing the amount of things they have to do, by allowing them to really focus on the core thing they should be focusing on, which is innovation and building novel and new products, rather than how am I going to maintain this server, and how am I going to take care of this cloud, and do I have to really build this functionality from scratch? It brings things kind of as a toolkit or a buffet that they can choose from and pick and choose which functions they want. And Avalanche sitting on top of that really gives them that sandbox to build the projects they want, with leaving kind of the blockchain aspect, the decentralized, ledger technology aspect, and the compute aspect to the side.
Yeah, I think those were all great points about how, what we do at Ava Labs to drive adoption of Avalanche is to enable developers to build and have an easier time doing that. And, Raymond, kind of going back to everything that you mentioned, it also sounds like you're seeing participation in Web3 across all different types of industries and as customers too. So, from your seat in APAC, where historically have you seen adoption for new technologies be faster? That can be either geographic regions or specific industries, but would love to see what your time there has given you insight into.
Yeah, I think for Alibaba Cloud in the regions, we've been supporting quite a lot of those different types of customers. One of the major pillars is the enterprise or what we call the traditional Web2 customers. So including a lot of those large enterprises and across the regions. And a lot of them, they come from like the finance spaces where, they are considering to move to the cloud, but because of those regulatory and compliances requirements of different countries, especially in APAC, right? You know that there are so many different countries, and each of them, they have a specific country's level of regulatory requirements that need to comply with. So for Alibaba Cloud, we actually play a quite good positions to not only about the infrastructure itself, we have some of those regions within the country, so that to ensure that not only the infrastructure is compliant to the regulatory requirements, but of course additionally we have those compliance and regulatory expertise that can help our financial customers to go into the cloud by meeting those different kinds of standards and regulatory requirements. So that's one of that. And of course, what being seen is that there's a picking up of the retail industry across the regions, because that because of those post-pandemic, the business start to wake up or recover, and people are starting to travel in between the countries. That actually bring up a spike of those traffic, and cloud definitely play a very important and essential capabilities of Elastic that can provide to those kind of customer to adopt the cloud. And of course, some of the other part is about the Web3, some of these emerging technologies such as Web3. Definitely that's something that we've been focusing on across the regions. We've been releasing the products, and we're working closely with the leading partners such as Avalanche within the regions to bring up some of those latest technologies to the builders. And of course, we've been hosting and co-hosting quite a lot of different events within the regions to ensure that the exposure and also the community and operations are running smoothly together with our partners. So in addition to that, definitely, AI is another quite a hot trend, and a lot of things being discussed, AIGC, and also a lot of other technologies. And that's something that we also been captured and also been talking quite proactively with the customer across the regions, and that's something also we are also quite interested to communicate and exchange those ideas with the entrepreneurs and also the startups as well as the enterprises within the regions.
No, that's awesome. And as with building out new technologies and just driving adoption even in a region that's as tech forward as the APAC region tends to be, with the entrepreneurship and innovation happening. At this point, but what do you think are the important infrastructure pieces that still need to be built to service such a large market?
Yeah, I think a very important part is about the courage. That in APAC, like what I just mentioned, there are so many different countries, and each of them, they have different compliance and regulatory requirements and landscape. And also even the culture is quite different across different countries. So it's very important that you know the market, and also you really deep dive into the market so that you can serve our, the builders and our startups and also the companies better. So from that perspective, I think it's very important, to set up a localized expertise team to serve each of those countries. For Alibaba Cloud, that's one of the things that we can offer to our customers, the local expertise. We have teams across these different countries and markets, and with really local hire talents, and they know about the market, they know about the culture, and that's very important because it's that time that you can start to really communicate, to learn about their local requirements, and then we co-work together, including the communities and ecosystems. Those would be quite down the ground, and we need to really have people there to really learn about the market. So that's very important, not only about the hardware or the infrastructure or the technology itself, but also the teaming that we can provide to our customer and ecosystem. And of course, the other one is about how would you ensure the compute power is being effective and attractive in terms of the pricing and also the performance that we can offer into the market. That's also another, I would say, very important job from a hyperscaler's perspective, because how would you ensure that the technology itself keep evolving from time to time, and then whilst you keeping the price attractive enough to the market. So from that perspective, Alibaba Cloud been innovating and investing quite a lot of R&D powers to ensure that our infrastructure and technology is easy to use and cost effective enough so that a lot of people can start to pick up that technology. So that's some of my ideas for this topic.
Thanks for that. You kind of answered my next question, which was, how is Alibaba being a part of building out those infrastructure services? But, that was such a complete answer. I'm just going to kick the next one to John. What are some of the major Web3 infrastructure challenges that you see? How does Avalanche and Alibaba Cloud help overcome those challenges?
I'll start first and build on something that Raymond was saying. That's in terms of regulatory differences in landscapes and by region. I think this space in terms of blockchain and crypto was first very independent. It values decentralization above all else, which is fantastic. But within those parameters, as this becomes more mainstream, more ingrained in the financial services of countries, in the institutional aspects of just many institutions, right? And particularly on the enterprise side, there are regulatory and compliance issues that have come up, right? Whether it's KYC or KYB or accreditation or privacy, particularly, even Europe with like GDPR, different privacy rule sets. This kind of open one-size-fits-all framework doesn't work in a global landscape with multiple nations and multiple rule sets and multiple jurisdictions that each have different kind of needs and requirements. What does that mean? That means that, one size fits all doesn't work. And I think this comes back to, of course, where Avalanche and subnets have a benefit, right? Subnets allow for enterprises, for institutions to deploy their own blockchain and build within it or around it their own rule sets, right? It could be a permission chain, it could be a permissionless chain, but it could fit within the guidelines that are necessary for that specific jurisdiction. If you're in a jurisdiction that has specific privacy requirements, you could have those safeguards. If you're building something that has a financial aspect that's going to deal with a regulatory agency or body, or that is overseen by a regulatory agency or body that requires KYC or accreditation or some form of identification in order to transact, you can build that whitelist capability into a subnet. And I think working with people like Alibaba and to Raymond's point, right, particularly when it comes to governments and enterprise and institutions, they have such a higher bar to data storage and privacy and surveillance and transaction history and a million things that the average person operating in crypto doesn't think about, right? The average person who goes and transacts with their bank or with Facebook or with whatever website takes for granted because it's built under the hood, right? It's those terms and conditions and all the things that we just look kind of past when we deal in a Web 2 world are not really included yet in Web 3 to the level that they need to be for Web 3 to achieve kind of that mass scale. It will be included, but it won't be in your face. But until now, there hasn't been an elegant solution in order to build that, right? So I think first and foremost, I think that's a challenge that has slowed down the exponential growth of Web 3 in terms of just mass adoption. I would say something else that's an infrastructure challenge is good UI and UX, right? User experience and user interfaces. I think this is a very common answer, but I think they have no idea, right? And they're never going to have an idea. That's not how you win hearts and minds and make differences and changes and use new technology. When PayPal first came out there, right? PayPal wasn't running around explaining to the world how they're going to bypass or revolutionize payments by using Fedwire or ACH or SEPA or SWIFT. Nobody cares, right? So I think crypto people, because we're so stuck in this world, tend to use the same wording, and we enjoy this kind of elitism or difficulty of using our world because it's a barrier of entry, right? It's like a rite of passage. So I think it needs to be as commonplace and as under the hood as all the things that Alibaba currently supports, right? I'm pretty sure, Alibaba powers so many industries and enterprises and companies, but you wouldn't know that Alibaba does. In the same vein, I think for Avalanche and Web3 and blockchain to become global and ubiquitous, you'll be using an application or interacting with the blockchain without knowing that you're interacting with the blockchain, right? But that's not the world we're in right now. That's not the paradigm we're in. I think we're getting there. I think first it was an established, this is going to make it kind of technology. And now we're in that growing pain of how do we take this to retail and mass market and global adoption. And I think a lot of quality enterprises from the talks that you and I have, Lydia, on a daily basis show that this is no longer kind of like a year and a half ago. People excited to do something just to say they're doing something in Web3 and in crypto, but it's strong companies, thoughtful companies, forward-looking companies, enterprises, institutions, and even governments are thinking of ways to really utilize this technology in the best way possible. And by doing so, I think are going to really create something, hopefully in the next 6 months, year, 2, 3 years, that's going to change the paradigm of how we think about crypto and how we look at blockchain technology in general, right? So I think, whether it's regulatory and compliance things, I would say is the first thing that's a challenge on the infrastructure layer, because infrastructure has not been ready for that yet. With people like Alibaba supporting us, it gives people that opportunity. And I think, good UX UI means that you have good people and good and mass market opportunities being built by the people that can reach it, but that can reach them. So those would be the two things that I would say.
Yeah, I think this goes back to shortening development cycles. And I think it was really astute of Alibaba Cloud to kind of have an eye towards the additional products that would cut down on that development time. But not only does it help developers build, it also helps these enterprises and brands and corporates that are in Web 2 do the things that they need to do using blockchain, but having this additional layer of, one, security, right? Because we've seen a lot of smart contract vulnerabilities over the last 2 years where a lot of value was literally stolen and lost. So having a security product offering, and then there is eKYC, right? So that these corporations can know who their customers are and who is interacting with their app on chain. And then the AML to help financial institutions comply with regulatory requirements, kind of all of that together, that entire suite, if you plug it in with subnets, John, what do you think that could mean for the partnership with Alibaba Cloud and the wave of subnets that are launching in this coming year?
So I think what we did at Ava Labs is we took a step back and we said, how do we really proliferate Web3 adoption and builders and applications that scales, right? An enterprise, an institution, and even a gaming company are not going to want to be fighting for space on a blockchain, right? They're not going to be wanting to deal with fees and throughput issues, and they're not going to want their transaction sitting alongside a million other transactions that confuse users, right? So we have a focus at Ava Labs on subnets, and it's of course our way to scale horizontally. And subnets, in a nutshell, are application-specific chains, or like our friends at MasterCard say, business-specific chains, right? So if you're a government, you have your own rule sets. If you're an enterprise, you could build out your own rule sets. And if you're a gaming company, we saw this with some unfortunate instances when gaming became popular in Web3, right? Some of these games went out to create their own blockchains, and unfortunately, they either got hacked or they had downtime or they had issues because they are game developers and not blockchain engineers, and they are not decentralized ledger distributed systems engineers and specialists, right? So first and foremost, what subnets allow is for people to have their own environment, to build to deploy a blockchain that fits their business case. Alibaba comes in, simply put, by being a solution and a top provider in the region that could spin up nodes so that subnets can proliferate. If you're an enterprise, you're not going to want to run your own nodes, right? You're going to want to use a trusted party that has guaranteed uptime, that fits within your regulatory or compliant nature and structure, that fits within the natures of kind of data storage and privacy and a million things that we as people on a daily basis take for granted. Enterprises, institutions, and governments cannot. For subnets to proliferate, for blockchain use cases to proliferate, you need subnets. You need these sandboxes or these specific application chains for these players to develop their products. And to build those subnets, you need reliable cloud partners like Alibaba, right? You need people that are in your, particularly for those in the region, you need people in your region. So Alibaba just provides us with that cornerstone that's really needed for us to go out there and promote subnets and push out subnets, and Alibaba's suite of services on top just make it that much easier.
Thanks, John. And, as we kind of get into our last question here, and I'm going to have to ask this of both of you, but what can we expect and what can we get excited about next from both Avalanche and Alibaba? So Raymond, why don't you, if you have anything to share with us, what can we get excited about?
Yeah, sure. I think there are quite a lot of different excitement that we could expect moving forward. First part is that as we talk about the Web 2, definitely there will be still quite a large amount of potentials that we can explore into that spaces, because just like John just mentioned, the traditional companies or enterprises, they are lacking the skill set or the expertise in this space. So it's very important that we can coach step by step to help them to understand and explore the specific use cases that can bring value to the companies. So that's very important. But still, it could mean that it would take some time to educate the market. So I think to that sense, I think definitely there will be a lot of opportunities that we can explore the potential use cases to those large enterprises, from finance, from media, from gaming, and from retailers. All those industries, there could be quite a different and unique use cases that we can explore into that space. So having a joint solution with Avalanche, that's something that we will be quite excited and look forward to have something new that come up into this space to help those customers to solve a specific use case and problems. So that's one thing. And then the other one is about more into the community. So I think that definitely there will be a lot more of those upcoming events that we will further evangelize the technologies and help all those builders from the communities to further innovate by leveraging some of the latest technologies such as AI or some big data on a lot of those latest technologies to merge it into the a total solutions that can help the community and the world being more innovative into the next step. So those would be some of the things that I think could be really looking forward to.
And I think you hit the nail on the head on, two of the most important initiatives to pursue, especially within Web3 and bring adoption, which is education. There's such a need for education still. And of course, engaging communities in such a way that get them, I wouldn't say evangelize, but get them to be, active participants, both in the technologies and the ecosystem generally. John, what can we get excited about on Avalanche?
Just want to agree with you on the education part, Lydia and Raymond, right? Like I said this morning, actually, in a talk. I think our job in business development, first and foremost, is educating people about the space, educating people about the technology, and educating people about what's possible with Avalanche. I think what we can look forward to and get excited about, first and foremost, is all the great things coming out of the Alibaba Cloud team, right? All the tools that we're going to be at the disposal of builders that we can share with our community and with the broader region. On our side, I mean, we've had a huge focus on subnets. I think there's nearly a dozen live now, but there's a few dozen that are in development now, spanning enterprise, institutional, gaming, and some other fun stuff, and some novel things as well. So really excited for the span of development happening there. There's a great website called VLTZ.io, I believe, where you could see the current Avalanche network, all the nodes and existing subnets. But then if you click on the testnet one, you could kind of see the scale of development that's really happening and get an idea for what's to come. So it's really exciting on that front. So we're looking forward to all of that. And I think on top of all of that, the developments coming out of Ava Lab on the engineering side, particularly Avalanche Warp messaging, which will allow interoperability and cross-subnet communication to really create kind of a network of blockchains, so that you don't just have the main chain, and a subnet is not just your own permissioned or permissionless chain living out in the vacuum, but that it's connected to a larger ecosystem, that there's interoperability between assets and information between these blockchains, right? So you start to see blockchains being connected in a way like the internet is connected. I like to joke sometimes that I truly believe in a multi-chain world, in the fact that everything will be a subnet one day, right? And everything could be connected through that. So whether it be gaming, whether it be enterprise, whether it be institutions, I think there's great changes coming up ahead. And I think there's great development just being done at the grassroots and community level too. So we're really excited to see a lot of the innovation that's happening from teams, whether small or big, and Alibaba continuing to be supportive of those builders. So it's an exciting time ahead.
Yeah, APAC is a great and fertile ground for a lot of innovation, especially within Web3. So we're excited to see what comes out of the region and with you as Alibaba Cloud. So thank you both for your time again today. And it was great. It was a great experience for me. I learned a lot, and I hope our audience feels the same. So, a couple of ending words for any builders who are currently building on Avalanche or joining the network. If you're looking to use Alibaba Cloud, there is a code that gives new customers $100 off, $300 of services. That is AVAX 100, AVAX 100. And next up, do join Ava Labs, Alibaba Cloud, and the entire Avalanche ecosystem at our second annual Avalanche Summit. It's happening in Barcelona from May 3rd to the 5th at the Poble Español. And for more updates from both the Alibaba Cloud and Avalanche team, you can follow these accounts on Twitter at Alibaba_Cloud and at Avalanche Avax. I'm at Encyclopedia, and John is at sjohn_Nahas. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Raymond. Thanks, Lydia.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Lydia. And thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
both.